Priya, a young and successful software developer, had just moved into her dream penthouse apartment in Bangalore. The luxurious space offered breathtaking views of the city, a spacious layout, and a sense of freedom she'd longed for. At first, life in the apartment felt perfect. But soon, small, unsettling details began to surface. She started hearing scratching noises in the walls at night, and dark, shadowy movements flickered in her peripheral vision. Oddly, rats began to appear, but they didn't behave like normal rodents. Instead of scurrying away, they would stare at her, still and unflinching, as if they were observing her. Priya dismissed these incidents, believing it was just her imagination. She took pest control measures, but the rats only grew bolder, larger, and more numerous. One night, she woke to loud scratching noises that seemed to come from the kitchen. Grabbing a broom, she cautiously entered, only to find an enormous, pitch-black rat rummaging through her fridge. Its glowing eyes filled her with an inexplicable dread. As she tried to shoo it away, the rat stood upright, defiant and unafraid. Priya screamed, turning on the lights, and watched as the creature darted into the shadows. That night marked the beginning of an escalating nightmare. As days turned into weeks, Priya's fear deepened. An oppressive presence seemed to loom in the apartment, and she began to see faint shadows moving without any source. Her health deteriorated, her skin burned in the shower, and an invisible weight pressed down on her chest at night. The rats multiplied, their behaviors growing eerier, and she began to see what resembled a family of them, almost human-like in their interactions. The line between reality and hallucination blurred. One night, Priya was jolted awake by a crushing weight on her chest. As her eyes adjusted to the dim light, she saw a shadowy figure standing at the foot of her bed. Its form was vaguely human, but its head was grotesquely rat-like, with sharp, curling horns. Frozen in terror, Priya couldn't scream. The entity whispered in a guttural voice, warning her to never leave the apartment. As she watched helplessly, her furniture began to shake violently, and the rats gathered as if they were witnesses to her torment. Desperate and terrified, Priya confided in a friend who suggested seeking spiritual help. A priest informed her that her apartment was cursed by a married jinn, a malevolent and powerful shapeshifter bound to the location. The jinn fed off fear, isolating its victims and driving them to madness. Armed with this knowledge, Priya decided to escape. She packed her belongings and prepared to leave, but as she approached the front door, the temperature in the apartment dropped. The shadowy figure reappeared, more aggressive than ever. It slammed doors, threw objects, and morphed into its monstrous rat form, blocking her way out. Priya tried chanting prayers she'd barely remembered from her childhood. The entity retreated momentarily, giving her a chance to perform a cleansing ritual with sage and holy water, aided by her friend. The apartment erupted in violent retaliation, doors slammed shut, windows shattered, and Priya was thrown across the room, her arms clawed by invisible hands. In a moment of desperate resolve, Priya held a religious symbol and demanded the entity leave her alone. The apartment grew silent, and she believed she had won. As Priya stepped outside, a chill ran up her spine. She felt something cold and clawed grip her ankle. Before she could react, she was dragged back into the apartment. Her screams echoed through the building as the screen faded to black. The final shot showed the penthouse from the outside, its lights flickering ominously, accompanied by faint scratching sounds and a shadow moving behind the curtains. To this day, the penthouse remains unoccupied. Neighbors whisper of shadowy figures in the windows and unsettling scratching noises. Those who pass by swear they feel an oppressive presence watching them.